Because you never know what
can happen.
You're gonna have. I've got a couple of. I have a recording of one of our, and I need to keep. If you would remind me in the Telegram chat when we're doing those to hit record, because I can record those and share them, because I've been sending them to Kieran.
Oh.
And so I don't know if.
Interesting.
But I forget all the time.
Oh,
last night I forgot
okay.
last night.
I forgot my badass new flashlight I just bought. This would have been perfect, and we could have gone.
Oh, did you get a UV flashlight?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
But I got one that's cool for me to hold. That's not all clunky, and it's like has a magnet at the bottom, and just convenient, you know. I should have brought it, but I always keep it at my house. But yeah, I'm a sucker for flashlights. But I seen another scorpion last night, a little baby scorpion.
Oh.
Yeah. So. And my friend said too, her dad said he got pricked by a scorpion, but wasn't a really big thing. She didn't believe him either that.
Oh, really?
That he got stuck too, yeah. So, so I don't know.
They're just not that bad, and we've heard all these horror
Unless they're
stories.
babies.
Yeah, but supposedly the babies are supposed to be the worst, right?
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what they say. Maybe
Excuse
that's
me, I know for
rattlesnakes.
Anytime when they stare out into black oblivion, it freaks me out. Like, I go out to the side of my yard to smoke with my dog, and he's always doing that. Just does like a full straight stare into the darkness, and it freaks me out. I try not to get scared, but I'm like right there with the flashlight, like flashing it, you know. But yeah, I hate going outside with him because he always does that.
Does he stare up?
No. No. Not really. He stares like
cats do
straight into the desert, and I'm like, oh.
Cats do weird shit like that.
Oh yeah.
You're like, what are you looking at? They look at you like, what do you? You don't see it? Like,
yeah.
Like Kieran talking about last night that his first memory was the man that helped him or saved him when he fell down the stairs or whatever.
Oh, I don't think I was there.
Oh, you weren't there yet? Oh no. See, that's why I need to record them.
Yeah, I came in quite late.
What did
he say?
He had he said he was like maybe 2 or 3 and fell and had a bad fall. Had a hairline fracture in his skull.
Oh wow!
And when he came to he was in the hospital, and they said he should have broken ribs and stuff like that. He should have been, a lot worse off. And he said the man helped me or something. The helper helped me.
What?
Yeah. The nice man helped me or something to that effect. I'll have to ask him again, but.
And what did he see? Just like did he elaboratize on what he saw?
No, he just remembered that
someone helped him. And he fell down the stairs, you said? Or what'd you say?
Yeah, it was a bad fall. I don't know if it was stairs, but it was a bad fall where he ended up cracking his head.
I've seen those, I seen this picture of this crumbled up SUV with a pole even through the driver's side window and out.
Oh yeah.
And it was a 16-year-old young girl, and she was the driver, and she survived that. And it's shit like that. You can see the pole, right? So where the fuck was she at? You know? And it's just completely crunched. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
That shit happens, and
what do you think of angels?
Well, I believe that for sure. I believe that they're there. I was just thinking too, it's at what point does that angel intervene? Because sometimes they don't intervene, and sometimes they do, and then I wonder why they do or why don't they? And I was just gonna say that because obviously something pushed her or shielded her.
Yeah.
And so it's you never know.
Some sort of intervention.
Yeah, and it's and then, you can, they say you can talk to your own party of guides, and what do you think about that?
Absolutely.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
I do that too.
I do that.
Ask for help a lot.
I do ask for help a lot. I'm not so bought into the Instagram version of calling on this specific angel and doing specific mantra and
Me either. I just do it however I feel.
Yeah.
Me too.
I feel like I have that connection with that entity. Like I definitely felt. So okay, I'll tell a story. The last owls I had out in Vale, the last babies, I had 2 of them left, and one of them died of rat poison because the mother the rats were poisoned because of the school, and the mother fed one to the baby, and the baby died. I named those 2 babies Raphael and Uriel on purpose. One was the angel of spring, and one was the angel of summer, because that was when they were born and when they were fledged.
Oh, okay.
And Raphael died, but he was the coolest baby with me personally. Like he sat on the ground. He was the one that let me get closest to him.
Wow.
And like I have pictures on my old account where I'm like this, like you and me, we're this close, and he's just hanging out. And there was one day where he was just sitting on the ground, and he let me walk up to him, and he just kind of goes and just sat there with me, and then just stared at me. We kind of just stared at each other and had this connection. And so that I had this very special connection with that one, and of course that was the one that died, and it hurt so bad, like it was like and ever since then, like Raphael, the angel Raphael, I've definitely felt like I've called on Archangel Michael for sure, but Raphael for sure, because Raphael is the angel of music and art and stuff too. And Uriel and the healing. Raphael is a healer.
Oh wow.
And so
he needed some healing.
Yeah. But he healed me, in that understanding. Like his death really had helped me let that go, because I was very attached to that family of owls, like really attached. It was hard for me I knew that I had to quit that job. I knew, several years ahead of that, I needed to quit and I needed to get away from that whole area. But his death, I needed that heartbreak to be able to do it for myself, So it was that.
You needed the heartbreak to deal with what yourself? Exactly.
To let it go, to let them all go, because I was attached to Gwen and Peter, the mother and father. I'm still extremely attached to them, but
do you still see them? Are they still there?
I don't know. I haven't been back for a while, but it allowed me to let it go as my specific family. I was thinking, how am I going to connect to all these other owls? Right? How am I going to get this back again? Because I had this, language thing. They taught me how to talk to them. And they really helped me connect to my magic and understanding that there is so much more than just talking to an animal. Like, it's not just, people, we have a connection with our dogs and whatever, but they, especially Gwen, because Gwen would look you dead in the eye and like, you feel it here, like what part of my soul is this being examining that I need to, is fucked up kind of feeling, and I'm like, it's that kind of depth of intimidation. And so because I I wouldn't blink purposely. I would sit there and let her stare at me. And I like, a connection that you can't really get with a human without being very uncomfortable, and she would stare dead straight in your eyes and just like right into your pupil, and you're like where it takes your breath away, And
You were intimidated that was
hell,
gonna
fuck
attack
yeah,
her?
attack
You or something?
Yes, I was. Of course I was. But it's that allowed me to figure out how to meditate, because it let me let go, to surrender.
Whoa,
While she was looking at me, I'm like, okay, if I can fucking chill while this thing is threatening to attack me, what's gonna happen? So I did. I forced myself to let go and surrender, and she just goes, oh, okay, cool.
Really?
Like, she was just chill after that. Like, immediately, it took like a couple weeks or whatever for me to even get to that point where I could chill out enough to do it. But as soon as I did, she was like, oh, all right, cool, you're fam.
Wow.
And like,
so wait, hold on. So before previous, like you said, it took a couple of weeks. So was she just staring at you and you just staring at her and you kind of slowly freaking out inside?
Yeah.
How long would you guys be in that?
Until I would
trance?
break. Like, it would be like
wow.
5,
and she never
10
did.
minutes, and she would do the hunch thing. They would do the clacking.
Really? But she would never lunge at you?
No, she never attacked me. She did attack other people.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
What? That's insane.
But she didn't attack me. Bro. But I would sit there and I'm like, okay, don't do it, don't. And I just don't freak out. As long as you don't freak out, she's not going to attack you.
Right.
Like you do with any other animal,
Yeah.
And
and then you let go, and then
as soon as I let go, she's like, oh, you're cool. And as soon as she was cool, Peter, her mate, was like super cool. He's like, okay, bro, right, we're homies, and like ever since that moment, he was like so chill with me. Like, I could, she would freak out, or something would freak them out, but Peter would always sit with me. He'd be like, are you cool? Yeah, I'm cool. Okay, cool. Like, and we would be, as far as here to the camera from each other, sometimes, and just he'd look at me and I'd look at him and we'd be like, cool. And he was the one that, the males many times are the ones that are really the protectors when the babies are in their adolescent stage. So he's the one that will protect the babies. If you get close to the babies, he'll either flush them immediately or attack you. But the initial attacker is the female, for sure. She's definitely more aggressive. So if you can get chill with the female, you're chill with the whole family.
Wow.
And so that's what made me understand this kind of idea of kind of maybe the idea of a goddess warrior kind of mentality, where if there is a there's yin and yang, right? Male and female and male. There's a god and a goddess in all of us. We have both forces inside of us.
Right.
And the more balanced we can get with either or both, the more whole of a person I feel like we can be. But I saw it kind of physically with them.
Right.
Like,
because he was perfectly in his feminine and masculine role.
Right.
And her too.
As the nurturer.
And she was more of the
right, the aggressor.
Yeah.
But also the protector. But he was also the protector. but he's also the nurturer. And when they're in the egg state, she is the nurturer, but he is also the nurturer because he is feeding them 24/7. Like while when they're babies, he's just dropping off food, and it was really cool to see also that he would come in and talk to the eggs.
I love that story. Share that story.
So yeah, they make I caught on camera where she would do this when they first laid the eggs. She would get up and be like excited, you know,
Oh my god.
and do this kind of excited, you know, hey, oh my gosh, look at you guys, we have babies, we're gonna have babies.
Oh my god.
But I realized that some of that footage wasn't her, it was him going in and doing the same thing to the eggs, like talking to the eggs. She wasn't there. He was talking to the eggs.
Wow.
And which was a really neat
thing to witness.
Yeah.
The guys are the male being all cuted out.
Yeah, right?
That's cool. And him like in his masculine, like knowing who he is, being there for his little babies, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
But also, so twice I caught him killing other owls.
What? You caught? Whoa.
So if a male owl, they call them bachelors. Sometimes there'll be like groups of male owls that will, you know, they're always looking for a mate. If there's a single owl, they're gonna try and find a mate.
They'll hang up maybe.
And they will try and find a suitable mate, whether she's hooked up or not. And if they come around and try and get with her, he'll fuck them up.
Really?
And I read this, but I'd never seen it. And it was weird because when I first found it, I was walking around where their tree was, and I found these wings sticking up out of the ground. And I'm like, and they were owl feathers. I'm like, and I started digging out, and it was a full wing and feet, like both feet and both wings. I'm like, what the fuck? And I thought it was one of mine.
Yeah.
I thought it was Peter, and I thought it was a bobcat because there's been bobcats around.
Gosh.
I'm like, shit. So I run back to the tree, and both of them are sitting there just chilling. I'm like, what? What's up? I'm like, what just happened? So I run back, and it's this pit that's dug with the wings and legs thrown in there, and I start looking around, searching around for the rest of it. I'm like, what the hell happened? And why would a bobcat do this?
Gosh.
I find the body away from that just ripped apart, and
oh my god!
its legs and its wings ripped off.
That's a little gruesome, eh?
Right.
And he even dug a little ditch and put the fucker in
the
there.
The ditch is the same width of that they make their nest, which showed me that it's them, you know, their width of their feet digging, you know. But
owls even bury their dead.
Well, no, he left the body out where the other owls could see it, all ripped up and like,
but
look,
what did
fuckers.
He put in the ditch? The
he
legs,
put the legs and the wings.
I wonder why he did that.
So it was a signal to other owls.
Here's this body, bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Come at me again, bitches. This is what you'll get.
Yeah.
And he did it twice. One of them I buried. The other one I may or may not have kept.
Well, dang.
So I buried the body of it, the skull of it. But
that'd be cool to if you could do the skull thing.
yeah, the skulls are hard because they you have to, anyway, it's a whole process. but because they're hollow,
They're not
it
very
becomes really
nice.
soft.
Oh.
So I've buried 3 owls because of that. Raphael,
Oh.
and then the two males that he killed. So he killed another one 2 years afterwards that he just left out there. It's on my other Instagram too. It's a trip. On Valentine's Day, he killed it.
What a romantic gift.
I know.
right?
I was like, wow, that is
What a romantic.
badass.
That is, wow. You got to see some real National Geographic shit.
Well, no time. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is fucking neat. I've never experienced anything like that.
And they use tools. Like
Oh,
she
yeah.
used she had a favorite rock that she would use to smooth out the nest, and she would use it
Where
over
was
and
the
over
nest
again.
at?
It was in this old kiln. It's like just a square cut out of
Was it on the ground or up high?
up about 6 feet
Oh.
in a wall. It was perfect because there was a fenced area around it so that they could like have kind of a nursery area after they fledged and
Oh,
they'd
wow.
walk around there and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But the nest they steal other nests normally from other birds, but this
yeah.
thing was like perfect. It was a little niche, just about a 3x4 square cut in a wall,
Uh-huh.
and that was just dirt and rocks, and she would every year she would come back to it and lay 3 or 4 eggs. Sometimes you get some years we had 4, but usually it ended up 2 or you lose a couple during the year, during the season, because crows or peregrine falcons would come, and because they know that, because owls and crows have kind of this natural rivalry, and peregrines too. They'll fuck each other up on purpose, but owls will do it in the middle of the night, when they're not looking, and so peregrines and they will.
We don't have peregrines here.
Mhm. Yeah, falcons and hawks.
I guess I'm thinking of that bird from Australia. It's not the same bird. I have to look that up. Peregrine?
Peregrine falcons.
Oh, that's kind of like that book, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She has that's a falcon. That's a peregrine falcon.
I do in southern Arizona.
But okay, so going back to
wow.
letting go of Raphael, when I came, because I got connected with another family of owls out in Corona, which I called grandmother and pops, because she was just fucking ginormous. She was like this big. God knows how old she was, because I realized that she'd been around there for like 10 years that I'd been seeing.
Right?
And there's a peregrine falcon. But after getting connected with those and watching their babies for a little bit, I'm like, if I move away, how am I gonna get connected with my owls again? But out here, no matter where I go, they find me.
Yeah, it's kind of like your
Even when I was on the
spiritual
mountain,
signature.
even when I was up in the mountain, it wasn't great horns. It was whiskered owls and Mexican screech owls.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I know this isn't a real animal, but you know what keeps coming to me, unbeknownst to me, is the Pegasus.
Oh yeah.
And so
not real.
right. you
that
guys.
you know of.
But on 2 different times in my life, I found like lighter. You know how you could put your lighter in that metal thing, and it's like for decorative purposes, and people have different lighter carriers or whatever. So on 2 different occasions, I found one with a Pegasus on it.
A unicorn?
Yeah, a unicorn, and I was like, oh, this is weird. And then I found another one, like my second one, and I was like, oh, this must mean something, you know, like, and then I had found a book at Nexus, and it's called like the Diamond Unicorn Transmission from some channel in Tucson. So because it was a channel in Tucson, I bought the book, but also because it said unicorn on it, and because I've been kind of, you know, getting, and I think something else happened, but I can't remember. I feel like something else happened, but I'm being blocked right now as to remembering what it was. But this last weekend, from that service that we've gone to, her message was that I was on a circus carousel on a Pegasus, and
Unicorn?
quite bored, and like wow, why are people even on this ride? Like at first I had fun, but now it's like I'm a little bit over it, and like, why do people even like this ride? And all of a sudden the unicorn becomes real and starts flying off, and
Oh, flying. So did it have wings?
yeah.
Okay, so it was a Pegasus.
Yeah.
Did it have a horn though too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, because those are separate things.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Because the thing on my lighter is the wings and a horn. So that it starts flying off, and that I don't need to guide it with my hands or my legs. That it just is controlled by, because we're just connected, or my heart. Like it just goes where I want. And the thing is, Pegasus is to show me that life's about to get more exciting and more fun, and not so monotonous and boring. Because I've always had an issue with that. Like, life is so boring. Like, why are we here? You know, like it's something that I've thought in my mind. And so to get a message like that, like that there's an opportunity for that to change and to like find the magic in the world like that. That was kind of nice to get a message like that, you know.
did you get that from looking up the symbology of?
No, that's what that lady told me.
Oh, yeah?
She was like, you know, you're able to move the Pegasus with just your spirit, and it's to show you to that life. Because the Pegasus thought like, oh, you think this is boring? Well, let me show you. And then it becomes real, and we go on an adventure.
Cool.
And that's interesting, because I remember like a month or maybe like 3 months ago, I watched that movie, The Griffin, on one of the Netflix channels, and it's cool. It has really good music. It has a bunch of grunge music throughout the show, but it's about how this guy defeats the Griffin, and there's like beautiful representation in there. Maybe that's that movie or another, but like how maybe it was another show too, like that had a symbology of like this falcon dragon thing with wings, and this guy got to ride it because he had a special connection with it. That really got me, and I was like, oh, I would love to have a dream like that, like where I could do that in my dream. And I remember trying. It didn't happen, but it's just interesting how the symbology keeps coming around, and how like I have an attraction to that, you know, and then how she said like that's kind of what was coming from my light. So fuck yeah, I'm here for it. Like if life can be a little bit more magical, then thank God I'm here for it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. That's the other thing, is like looking into, every time I have a connection with an animal, I'm like, oh, I gotta look up the. I think one of the Don Miguel, is it Don Miguel Ruiz, or his son? One of the one of the animal books. I think it's not the medicine bag. I can't remember the name of the book. Anyway, has a bunch of meaning, Toltec symbology meanings to all the animals, and so I read that years ago, and I was like, oh, since then, like I was trying to look them up or try and like, okay, bear is nurturing, defender, buffalo is family, turkey is family and blessing and fertility, and those kind of things, But the owls were the first one, because they're in every ancient mythology. Like, it's magic, it's creation, it's messengers,
mysticism,
yeah, right. They're always connected with witches and death, and the messengers between death and life, and they're always in churchyards and cemeteries, and in a practical way, it's because they're attracted to mice. They clear the mice away from the cemeteries and the churchyards, but in a symbolic way, they are also messengers of the dead. And in some cultures, they see that as an ominous, negative omen, and the others, they see that as a positive omen. That, oh, my ancestors are here.
Yeah.
Whereas with, like, I think 3D European religion has turned them into something negative.
Same with the raven. Like, I've always had like a good connection with them.
I do too. Yeah.
Not so much a negative message from them.
Dinky doesn't, because they bully her. She's terrified.
Do?
Well,
she's kind of big though.
Yeah,
for
but
a small dog.
They attack her. They've attacked her.
Oh my god!
And so when the ravens come around, she gets on bed. But yeah, ravens I've always loved. They're smart. Ravens and owls are stupid smart, crazy smart. All of them remember people. They remember people's faces.
And I read that hummingbirds too can remember.
Oh yeah.
Well, why couldn't any?
All of them, yeah.
Animal, right? Yeah. As human, we think that they can't, but yeah, I guess hummingbirds do, and it cracks me up how territorial they are. They do not like to share, even though there's like 8 flowers around a sugar spout. It cracks me up.
The Toltec warriors would invoke the hummingbird spirit. They put hummingbird feathers all over them to invoke it, because they're so fast and can evade any capture. They're extremely aggressive.
Yeah.
So Toltec warriors always would try and in like Norse mythology, it was like the berserker bear kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Toltec warriors were more like the ninja kind of idea, where they get in and out and fly in and do their attack and leave.
Yeah. You asked a good question. When we were, you were wondering like if the mantis bug, how their connection to the mantis being is. That's kind of an interesting thought. Like, I wonder that too. And Bashar was talking about how the great aliens are just a future derivative of us, and how they had to turn off their emotions to help with the science of saving their species, to figuring out how they can heal themselves, or they have something to figure out.
Oh, right.
And who is in charge of that mission, overseeing that they don't have emotions, is the mantis being.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they're in charge of that while the Greys are figuring whatever they need to figure out scientifically, and their science is to be hybridized with us so we can be emotionally more intelligent and spiritually and emotionally. Because even though they don't have emotions, they are still very connected with spirit at a higher
As the Greys are?
dimension. Yeah, they still have a very big understanding of the one together. They're more of a conglomerate group than individualized. And yeah. So I thought it's interesting that the Mantis Being is overheading that project. And
That's funny. Mantis in like the native symbology is spirit and prophecy.
spirit and prophecy. Yeah. Well, hopefully the answer drops in soon as to if the little bugs are connected, right?
Yeah.
They're like
Well,
little
they are. I mean,
overseers
somehow.
or whatever.
There were, if everything in nature is a reflection of everything else, and the as above, so below thing is true, which it is.
That's another thing that trips me out is like this is just a projection of our consciousness. But even though I can feel it, it's still just like a projection.
What do you mean?
Like, haven't you heard that thought, like all is mind and like.
Oh, you mean any matter?
This really isn't real.
Yeah.
But it is real to us because we're at the same frequency, but it's not. Like that trips my mind up sometimes.
Yeah, if everything is an atomic, if atomic structure is real, then in theory this is only moving at a very denser rate than we are, or the liquid in the coffee is. Like it's much looser. Like the atoms are the same in this as in this, whereas the ice in that is just slowed down water.
But it also
right?
has a vibrational signature in that alien book I was reading.
Yeah.
This is also in another dimension, 5 and 6, to where, say we had homies right here in the 6th dimension, they could drink this same drink too, and we wouldn't see the difference, but in their dimension it is, because it also has different dimensional frequency that we can't see. And so that's the whole thing too,
Right, like
but they can
liquefaction
see
of
it.
rock, like we were talking about. Like the earthquakes. Where, see, this is why flat Earth doesn't make any sense to me, because rock in its rawest form, well, rock is also liquid, acts as a liquid in earthquakes. Like there's a earthquake in there's
like the ground.
Yeah, the ground.
Like
well, when
I think I've kind of
you can see it on like seismography, like you see ripples. When a like we can feel ripples here that happen in California. When a earthquake happens, rock actually turns into a liquid. It flows, and it doesn't have to be molten for that to happen. It just shakes apart. It's like that's what happens with audio weaponry. Subsonic audio weapons are just super subsonic waves that shake everything apart. Like you can make this fall apart just from super subsonic waves. And that's what happens with rock. When you have slag, you have molten metal or molten rock, and it's thrown up in the air, it comes down in balls. It doesn't come down in flat discs. It doesn't come down in, rock the molten rock does, because it comes back down into, it's more of a gelatinous form. But when metal is thrown up in the air, when it cools off in the air, it cools off faster than rock does, so it comes down in balls. Same thing with frozen water is hail. And
right.
So flat Earth, that's the thing, is when a liquid doesn't have a container, it's always a ball. Ooh. And if the Earth does not have a container, what shape
There's
would
no
it be?
way that it could be flat, basically.
Yeah. Logic doesn't make sense that it's logic.
Because even like when you see those pictographs of like how our energy works and it's like siphoned like this, it's still a circular.
Yeah, our torus
figure.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the same magnetic field as the Earth. And
Did you hear that? Sounded like a pig.
Oh, I gotta get mine.
Like snorting around.
Probably. I have a flashlight. So
Do you have a dinky where you could grab? We're still in the desert.
Yeah. They could be bobcats. I don't know.
Oh, better freaking not be.
No, there's 3 of us. They wouldn't.
We are protected.
I think we're fine. But anyway, I like playing around with those ideas, and people don't limit themselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I told my dad, I was like, yeah. He's like, do you have any plans for today? I was like, yeah, me and Gordon might go and shoot, stuff, see if we're going to do the YouTube channel or not, And his reaction right away was, well, what is it going to be about? And I was like, well, I guess it's kind of about finding the magic in reality and where those pockets are at in community, and maybe dissolving fear to find those paths, whatever. And he's like, well, what kind of certificate expertise do you have, or what kind of certificate?
Oh, right.
And I was like, well, that's kind of the point. Like, why does anyone need to have to have a PhD to be expert in it?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's not the point. It's kind of like kind of like we talked about, like to open our heart to shed light on the love that's happening in the world, or whatever you want to call it. And he had some other smart thing to say, and I was like, well, see, kind of just like how you immediately shut off to the ideal of us doing this and us having any practicality. That's kind of the point of the YouTube right there, is like, why do we need to be pressurized into being one way because the news tells us that we have to be? And then he kind of was like, oh.
Dude, from experience, some of the dumbest humans I've ever known had the most fancy diplomas on their wall. Like, there were dudes that I worked in that were ex-NASA dudes, couldn't think their way out of a wet paper bag with humans.
Right, and
but
it's
they
like,
were, geniuses.
So because we don't have X, Y, and Z, then what, we can't find the key to the universe?
Right.
In a sense.
The universe is within you. With all of us.
That's a good point. You don't need any certificate to tell us.
And I don't need another...
To find the magic. To prove that there's magic.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. You don't need anybody to tell you that your experience isn't real.
Oh, right. And I was like, that feeling that you just got right there, that's exactly how they want you to feel when you bring up love or anything, magic or anything.
Or in connection to a god.
anything
Or creator
spiritual.
spirit.
I was like, that's what we want to
Mm-hmm.
shed light on and dissolve.
Yeah, dude.
Just threw that out there, but
No, that's what we want to do.
so
Cool. I'm glad you had that discussion with your dad, though.
yeah, me too.
What did he, how did he respond?
He kind of said something. Well, he thinks that people need to be worried about the here and now and what's going on. I was like, but what are you doing in the here and now right now? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're just watching the news. So what are you doing? You know. And then he kind of moved on to discussing, because we can kind of talk like this, me and my dad. So he kind of opened up to the ideal and talked about some other conspiracy. About something else.
Yeah, I mean, your dad's a little more open. So, you always thought this funny. I find it funny now. It pissed me off at the time, but after our class this weekend, and I was explaining what we did to my mother, who has a hard time with anything really. I mean, so she had pretty harsh judgment of going to a medicine wheel class and talking to natives about and witnessing seeing an actual medicine wheel, and that I was going to do a sweat lodge. Well, that doesn't sound like a Christian thing.
It's not.
It triggered me. I was like, how would you know, Mother? You didn't go to the Episcopal Church when I asked you to. When I went, you didn't go to the Methodist one, you didn't go to the Lutheran one, and you didn't go to the Grace Chapel when I took my sister. So how would you even know? Like, the harshest judgment comes from the people that have the least action and the least connection to their Creator. I can't, and it triggered me so bad. I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I am not taking that kind of judgment anymore from people that aren't actually seeking.
Yeah. That's how I feel. Before I would tell them nothing.
Yeah, I would keep my mouth shut, but not anymore.
But now I just say it, and because my mom's super Christian too, and she'll say little things. But one time I got on her ass too about that, just because someone says they're a psychic or medium doesn't mean that they're fucking evil. I mean, Jesus was literally that, and they have it hidden that Mary Magdalene was too, and his mom were like badass priestesses,
from the ISIS school, and they were the healers. They were probably the ones that actually resurrected the Christ.
How do you think the Immaculate Conception happened? Because they were so in their power. They did that with spirit. So it's just like, I'm done if you tell me that I'm not safe. And that's another thing. I don't feel like we need to be safe from anything. Why would God let us be in this experiment of you get to choose what vibration you want to vibe at, and then be punished because we didn't choose the right vibe?
Right.
Like, if I want to be a murderer, that means I wanted to experience human condition as a murderer. Yeah, it sucks for those around, and it sucks for us as a society, but this is just a grand experiment. At the end of the day, like, God also wants to feel what that feels like, is what I'm assuming is why it exists. Or why, why would God create that? I guess because he wanted to see what it would feel like.
Because God is everything?
Yeah.
If God is all, if it's the great I am, and everything.
And the truth is, so did you. You wanted to feel what that felt like.
Right. And so did Jesus himself. And that's the other thing I love to throw into the chat rooms is Jesus was a magician, and he wants you to know that you are too.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
yeah,
people don't know how to take that.
Blasphemous.
Blasphemy.
Yeah. But it's like, with how contorted the Bible is, and like people don't even know that that's like those gods were just like higher, lower dimensional beings who got caught up in the loop of wanting to be a king or a god. And but I guess, with the coming, if we do have alien encounter, Bashar was talking about one of their gifts to us is going to be actual like holographic video of our history, because they've been filming us for forever, right? They've been observing us for forever. So he talked about one of the gifts could possibly be us seeing a video representation of
our history,
some of our timelines. Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
That would be a fucking trip, huh?
I don't know. I still don't know how to feel about grays.
What, alien? And all
Well, I believe in alien as alien understanding that it's not us. Alien as far as space traveling, gray, grays that abduct and anally probe humans is a problem for me.
I think that's where man just fucked it up and wants us to be scared. I feel like there is alien, and it could be future us or a different us,
but it could be demonic too. Demonic progression.
Well,
projection.
also, like, they talk about that. Like, there's, when that girl from our group said in higher dimension there's no polarity, I didn't know how to take that, because from different channels I've heard, one of our universal laws is polarity. So even at the 12th dimension, there are 12-dimensional beings behaving in a 12-dimensional negative way. So there's always going to be kind of that.
Right, the same. And it's the same thing, like that Richard Ramirez's path was to be that evil murderer, to choose evil. Why would God make him,
Marilyn Manson and all that. And one thing too, I've heard it, with women, all humans, I guess, we deal with rape and murder, and it breaks us down and we get hurt. And some of the most mind-blowing things is that we learn that we chose that path.
Right, yeah.
And we choose it for the ultimate experience of healing ourselves. But, like, nothing is technically out of your control, Which is hard to wrap my mind around. So you're saying I said yes to being raped at 5 years old, or being in an abusive family dynamic, it seems a little fucked up, right? And it makes you angry at God and at yourself and at everyone around you, but I guess that's the mind fuck of it all. Is one school of thought. I guess I should say, But it kind of gives you your power back, too.
Right.
What do you think? I guess at the end of the day, it's all about, like, well, what did you learn from it, What did it teach you?
Well, I think it does give you our power back, because if we did choose it, well, we chose the experience. If we chose the human experience, and this is all part of the experience, you can't deny. I mean, if it...
Like, a good example is, like, 2 kids who had parents that were drug addicts, and so they gave them up for adoption. That's fucked up, and it comes with a lot of broken pieces. But at the end of the day, the major lesson was you didn't need your parents to parent yourself. You parented yourself, and you survived. You're, now a 35-year-old man with a child, and you survived, right?
Right.
You technically parented it yourself and had your own back, and that was that lesson for that spirit,
Yeah, I think about that often, especially lately, because my sister and I were talking about how, well, many of us in our group, many people our age, like especially my age, we're all feral kids, You know, we were all latchkey kids. We're completely a neglected generation. We all raised ourselves, and all these parents of our generation that think they did such a great job. Well, you turned out fine. Bullshit. yeah. Without your help, you know,
Right.
despite you.
Yeah, that's true, because my dad was definitely a latchkey kid and has dealt with such problems of
Yeah.
abandonment and abuse and
For sure.
interesting.
Yeah, we did that despite our parents. And we're, again, breaking the generational curses. We're trying not to make those same mistakes where we overdo it a lot of times, but hopefully we're learning so
Where
that
is that back? Yeah.
this next one we can say, hey, maybe, you know, the guy can be nurturing too, you know, and the female can be the aggressor sometimes, and that's okay. Like, there is masculine, feminine in all of us. And it's not unnatural. This whole alpha male bullshit that culture has eaten itself. I don't know even how to explain what is going on in people's minds right now.
That's a good, it's a perpetual loop that's not, that is breaking down, I guess, honestly, right?
Let's hope so.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, we're almost right at an hour. These are cool.
Cool.